Hi, my name is Randall Chapman, and today I'm going to go through from boot to root on VulnHub's Jigsaw 1. Jigsaw 1 was created by Zayotic, and it is actually rated as hard. And let me tell you, this thing pushed my skills to the brink. The only tip we get is on the main page, and it says check for ARP rather than port scans. Since this is more of an advanced Linux box or test box and stuff like that, some of the easier tools that we've been using, stuff like that, I'm not really going to go too deep into. It's more the obscure tools that I've learned and picked up as I was working on this. And let me tell you, I was really happy I completed this. It was a lot of fun. At the same time, it was frustrating. So with that, let's go ahead and start the server with some added theatrics.
Hello. Are you watching me on YouTube? Good. I'd like to play a game with you. Up until now, you've just sat there as a voyeur watching other people in their videos without care about who that person is. Well, what do voyeurs see when they look into the mirror? Let's find out. Right now, you are being watched. And if you forget for 1 second that you are being watched, you will lose. Your only way out is to understand, find the meaning, and you will live. Just remember, knowledge changes everything.
Okay, as you can see, the server is up and running, or the Linux box is up and running. So with that, let's go ahead and get to work, and we're going to start a timer, and we're going to see if I can do this in one take. So, okay. So to start off, we're going to open up a terminal window. And basically it said on the main page that to try to do this with ARP scans because you may be more successful than you would with port scans. So sudo ARP scan. We're going to do the local net. I need an extra dash. And then we're going to ignore duplicates. All right. Okay, so basically working on this before, I know that the box is 110. It took me a little bit to figure it out with, but anyway, so with that, we are going to start TCP dump. It's TCP-A-N host 192.168.56.110 sudo. Okay, and I forgot, and ARP. Okay, we're also going to run Wireshark. When I originally did this, I ran Wireshark as well. Okay, we're going to open up another terminal window. And in this one, we are going to do the ARP scan again. It's ARP scan dash localnet. Ignore dupes. Duplicates. And I forgot sudo again. Okay. So one of the things that when I was going through this is I got a tip that that the tip on the description page could be misleading, and actually it is misleading. So we're going to control C out of that, and then we're going to go with not ARP. And then we're going to go back into this and do the same thing with the other window and do the ARP scan again. Okay, so one of the things though is we're going to get some information from the box, and I actually got this to do it one time, and I couldn't get it to actually reproduce before I actually started when I was practicing before this video. So basically the system will send out a message, and it seems like it's whatever it feels like, and I actually found it in the Wireshark information as I was digging through, and what it was one message on port 666, and this was it. It was Jigsaw was always fascinated with leet speak. In fact, he uses it for a lot of his passwords. And that statement uses it for a lot of his passwords is going to come in handy later. A bunch. Okay, so let's go ahead and as you can see, we've got a bunch of information that's already come through. Even though this says as I'm going to show you, because let's go ahead and stop this. But basically, on port 66, I'll even nmap it to show that it's there. Nmap dash pn dash p 666 192.168.56.110. And as you can see, port 666 does answer, and its services doom. Doom. Doom and gloom. But basically, when getting that information about always fascinated leet speak, and then the port 666 is actually answering, after a few tries of different ways, I just netcat to the port, and it was netcat-u, and it was 192.168.56.110, and it was port 666, and it seems like we got nothing. But if you remember, Jigsaw, and it's spelled J19S4W, is always fascinated with leet speak. Well, we could do hello, we could do Jigsaw. None of that worked until I tried 19. Okay, so when we type in Jigsaw and leet speak, we get this string of characters, and after working on it a while, I found out it was base 64. And we're going to go ahead and copy this, and to decode this, basically we're going to do echo and colon and paste and quote, not colon, quote. Then we're going to pipe that over to base 64 and -d, and there's our first flag. It's you've completed your first test. Now unlock these numbers to find what you seek: 5500, 6600, 7700. And when I first was doing this, I didn't understand what it meant by knock these numbers and find what you seek, because I thought that I would actually have a decent roadmap with walkthroughs and stuff like that, but there are not very many, and there's one copies the other, and they're both missing quite a bit of information. So I actually did a lot of researching and a lot of learning of stuff to complete this project. But anyway, we've got our first flag. So now You complete your first test, knock these numbers to find what you seek. And what it means is something called port knocking. Port knocking is a security through obscurity thing, which we all know isn't really secure. But when I was reading one of the articles, it says that basically port knocking was a term that kind of was like similar to the Prohibition days, where you knock a certain pattern on the door to be let in to gamble or alcohol. In my case, when I first was reading it and stuff like that, and then when I looked at the Wikipedia page, I was pretty much seeing it more like a locker combination, where basically you want to get to something, you have to put in your code, turn one way, turn the next, pass the number, and then turn the last, unlock, and then you can get into where you're trying to get. So with that, port knocking actually has approximately 141 trillion combinations, but yet it's one of those things where it could be eventually figured out. Somebody can make a mistake. I actually downloaded a lot of tools to see what it could do, and come to find out you don't need any tools to actually solve this one. It's an nmap ping, and you want to do an nmap scan, sending one packet to each one of these numbers at a time. And to save time, I'm actually just going to copy what I wrote so I can do all three ports at once. So here we go. And so each one of them got one packet sent to it, kind of like a sonar ping. First one was the service hotline, and the second one, and the third one. And that, at first I wasn't sure what it did, and I could actually rescan the ports to show what port it opened, but the problem is doing that will actually end up locking it. So I kind of stumbled around, and it's like, okay, well, it opened up something, so let's and I just kind of like, well, let's see if it opened a web page, because there was no web page open before, because every port was closed. So let's just go ahead and open up a web page. 192.168.56.110, and port 80 opened. Now, this is what we're greeted with. Jigsaw himself. Okay. So one of the first things we're going to do is check out the robots text, because that's a good old favorite. It's not there. Logs and log text is not there too. Yeah. Okay. So one of the other things I thought could be is that it could be like, the same color of text matching the background. So I did a Control A, and there's no text on this at all. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the actual source HTML code. And there's actually a line in here. It says, when you're in hell, only your mind can help you out. Test 2 will soon arrive. Test 2 will soon arrive. We're not even in test 2. We're in the hallway from room to room. Okay. So finding out that this is a GIF image, and if we open the GIF, if we do a view image, we can see that it's a GIF file. Well, one of the things that I learned is about like steganography and stuff like that, was kind of try different things on it. So we're going to save that. What worked was strings. So let's just go ahead and go with what worked. Okay, so CD downloads ls. And there's the file. So we're going to do strings. Jigsaw GIF. And one of the interesting things is let's do 8. At the beginning of this, like the 5th line down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's Dr. Death and Leet speak. And I went through pretty much all the information in this. And seeing Dr. Death and Leet speak, actually the last line is also Leet speak. It's / want to play a game. Want to play a game / want to play a game. Well, we're going to highlight, we're going to copy that, and we're going to take that back over to the browser, and we're going to put it in after the web address. And that brings us to a login page. So getting in here, we know Jigsaw. And as it said, Jigsaw likes to use Jigsaw's. It's his, Bleat speaks as a password. So J19 S4W. And it says Jigsaw does not exist. I spent quite a few hours on this login page, entering as many username password combinations as I could think of. And honestly, nothing was getting me past this page. And that's when I decided to send this through Burp Suite. So let's go ahead and open up Burp. While Burp is opening, one of the things that I did look at was the source code on this. When you expand this code out, you come to the XML format, and with it having XML, I did some reading and stuff like that, and found out, and I read about on Portswigger actually about an XXE vulnerability, an XXE attack. So in here, we're going to go into proxy. We're going to open up a browser so we can use Burp's own browser when we do this. We're going to come over here and copy this address. We're going to put this in here. And we've got intercept on, so let's go ahead and turn that off so we get to the page. Okay, so now let's turn the intercept back on, and we're gonna let's just do admin and password. Okay, now looking at this, here, we'll look at it this way. Okay, so this is the XML information on the page and stuff like that. And from my impression of what an XXE attack is it's similar to like an SQL injection, even though the two are slightly different, stuff like that, but kind of accomplish the same thing. You're going to trick the actual service into giving you, the server side to giving you information that normally it wouldn't. Basically, XML attack is an external entity injection, similar to SQL. It attacks the server side. It's a server side request forgery. And Portswigger has a lot of good information on this if you want to read up more on it. So with that, let's go back to Burp. Okay. So right now we have our proxy intercepting our password request, where I entered admin and password. So let's go ahead and send this over to, I think it's repeater. And we're going to go over to repeater. And we're going to go ahead and send this. And we can see admin doesn't exist. And if we go back to the page, it'll do the same thing. Does not exist. Okay. So an XXE attack is a specific XML code that we're going to put in. And to save time, I've actually got it already typed out. And we're going to put it right here. Just like that. Okay, so this one is going to give us the password, which of course we know is basically username. So we're going to go ahead and send that. And with this information that we just now have the server-side request forgery is what we just did, and it basically gave us usernames on the system. And of course, now we know Jigsaw is a username. Even though we tried to log in with Jigsaw and we tried to log in with its leet speak password, which didn't get us in there. But there's more information we can get. That is, remember when we did port knocking? Well, one of the tools I looked up was called knockd, and I thought that I needed to install that to do a port knocking. It turns out that the knockd is actually a configuration that listens for the port knocking on the server side. So even though I installed the tool, figured out the tool, everything like that, didn't need the tool. But doing that, I kind of figured out how the tool will respond on the server side. So there's actually a config file. It's in the etc area. So we're going to go to the knockd config file. And we're going to go ahead and send that again. And that pulled up the information about how to open up port 80 was the 556677. It also has how to open SSH, which is 7011, 8011, 9011. So if we go back over to where we did that before, which was right here, let's go ahead and save time. I'm not going to type it all out again. All right, so this is the one where it's 711, 8011, 9011. So we're going to go ahead and hit that. And that went through. Talon disk, unknown, and D-star, like dark star. All right, so now I could nmap this again to show you that port 22 opened up. The only problem is when I do that, it's going to lock both port 80 and port 22. So now we're going to SSH into the box. And do that as SSH. And we found out that from over here, from the one before that, the username was Jigsaw. And I will just bring that back up. Pass WD. Right here, Jigsaw. Okay. So SSH, and it's Jigsaw at 192.168.56.110, and it's going to be port think there's a space there. Port 22. And do you want fingerprints? Yes. Password. Okay, so this is actually going to be the leet speak of Jigsaw. Here, I'm just going to get this, close that one out so we can see this better. Okay, so this is J19S4W. And we're in the box. And who am I? Jigsaw. Okay. Well, we're in here, so let's look around a little bit. LS. Hey, there's a text file. It's leet speak again. It's you did well, but it's not over. So it's cat. And instead of retyping it, Control C. Cat. Control V. And flag 2. Hack or fail. Make your choice. Now comes your final test. So with that, port knocking was really fun to figure out. And a lot of reading on it and stuff like that. And I mean, well, not a lot of reading. There was not too much. There's some, but it's one of those things where it's security through obscurity. So this next part actually got complex quite quick, and it was fun because it's one of the things I've always kind of wanted to do, and that was buffer overflow. And that's what this whole next flag was about, was buffer overflows. Okay, so basically now that we're in Jigsaw, the box, what first I did was I wanted to see what kind of permissions permissions level I had. So I did sudo -L to figure out for level to find out exactly what permissions I could do. And J19S4W, and sorry, the user Jigsaw may not run sudo on Jigsaw. Anyway, so in that, I was trying to figure out, well, what can Jigsaw do? And in some reading, I found that if you do find /perm space u equals s type f 2 greater dev null. Okay, with admitting that my buffer overflow skills, since this is actually the first time I've done this, I found this to actually kind of give you what you can do and what's available to the user Jigsaw, but I don't exactly understand it, so I can't really explain it very well. I forgot a dash. Okay, so with that, it brings up slowly. Okay, so basically typing that in, and it kind of lets you know what you have access to, or what's available and stuff like that. But I was kind of looking these over, and it's like, password, PK Excel, and one of the things that pops out is right towards the bottom is game 3. Well, we're starting the third flag, so game 3 is actually something that's that's where we should focus. So with that, I tried doing many different things with that directory, but it's not a directory actually. So what we're going to do is game 3. We're just going to type it out, and when you just type it out, it's most people are so ungrateful to be a hacker, but not you, not anymore. And when I typed that in, it kind of popped up. It was kind of like a Goosebumps moment. You know, it's like, woo. So basically the next thing I did was I did file, and I actually had to look this up to get this tip. Bin game 3. And that brings up something that's kind of interesting. It's an ELF file. And what an ELF file is it's an executable Linux file, ELF. So with that, I started really diving into how to do buffer overflows and everything like that. And it's one of those things where if you start reading the information on here, besides ELF, it's dynamically linked and it's not stripped. And that means that it's got libc connections and it has all its debugging information. So it means that the file is got information we can extort. So basically, it's one of those things where we could work on it on the file, but one of the things that was talking about buffer overflows, like, you know, it said, like my last video, it said, if we can get our hands on it, grab a hold of it, take it. So we're going to secure copy it over to my machine. So and to do that is an SCP, and it's Jigsaw at 192.168.56.110, and we're going to do a colon or semicolon. I get those backwards. bin game 3, and we're going to choose location of downloads. Oh, wait a minute. I got to do it from my machine. I'm actually in Jigsaw, so I've got to do the secure copy from my machine. So to do that, we're going to open up another terminal window. And we're going to do an SCP, and it's Jigsaw at 192.168.56.110 colon or semicolon bin game 3 / downloads, and I gotta capitalize that. Right. And it's J19S4W. Guess we have to do sudo. Hit 2 keys at once. And that's J19S4W. And hey, we've got the file. Okay, so now it's going to double check. There we go. Okay, so now we've got games. game 3, excuse me, on our system or my system. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to send that in debugger and or GDB, which is GNU debugger. And to do that, we're going to do GDB -q dot. Oh, I need to be in the directory. CD downloads. And the reason it's highlighted red, I think, is because it's an executable. Okay, so now to do this, it's GDB -q dot GAME3 and okay, so we're going to run and we get the same message that game 3, most people are ungrateful to be a hacker, but not you, not anymore. So that shows that we actually have the file. So okay, now basically what we're going to do is we're going to run okay, so we're going to check this file for pattern vulnerabilities, buffer vulnerability, excuse me. And to do that, we've got it in debugger, and we need to create a pattern. So to do that is pattern create, and we're going to give it a length. So we're going to give it 200, and that gives us a string of characters that's unique from the debugger. So we're going to go ahead and copy that. And then with that, we're going to run, and we're going to put the pattern in where we're running. And that's going to tell us exactly if how it reacts when it's put into the buffer. And as you can see that basically there was an overflow because at the bottom it's a segment fault. Okay, so it stopped because it's a segmentation fault, and it stopped at okay, so there's the different things that we're looking at here is the buffer, we're going to be attacking the stack, and one of the things is the addresses and buffers that we're looking for is the EIP, the EBP, and the ASP. And what those stands for is the EIP is the instructions pointer, the EBP is the base pointer, and the ESP is the stack pointer. So it's basically where the memory addressing is when it reaches certain process points, it's directed back into the buffer stack where the information's held. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to put too much information there that we actually overwrite one of those pointers. The one we're going for is the EIP, which you can see right here, and effectively it's been overwritten. That's a bunch of A's is what it's been overwritten with, and that's what this pattern is to be too much information that actually starts overriding those address assignment pointers. So I know I'm probably doing a terrible job explaining buffer flow, but it's one of those things that I'm just still really fresh at. So anyway, so basically, since we found that this is vulnerable to buffer overflow, what we're going to do is we're actually going to search the pattern to see where the buffer overflow happened in the memory, how many characters are actually in the memory. So to do that is pattern search, and it should pull up that it happened at offset 76. Is it offset? Yeah, it's offset 76. Okay, so finding that, we need to craft a payload to actually show that we can actually do the memory assignment back to where we could actually hide code in the stack, so that way when the buffer overflow hits that spot, it actually points back into the stack to near where our code is. That way, and there's this thing called a sled, where it kind of will slide into our code, and that will actually give us a bash shell, a shell, access to where we're at. And this buffer overflow is actually, when I was reading, is an actual old vulnerability from like the 60s and 70s from what I was reading and watching videos on. So this isn't something new, but they've constantly been working on how to secure it so that something like this couldn't just happen just easily like I'm doing. So, but anyway, so what we want to do is we want to create an actual Python file to get at that buffer offset of 76. And to save time, I've actually already got it typed up. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually do this in text editor. And that's basically what it is. It's an import instructions. It's a buffer. It's going to do a buffer A 76 times. So it's going to actually hit that memory address. And then basically it's going to assign B's to the exit address so we can actually see where it's at. So, and save. Go ahead and exit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run that inside game 3. Dollar, and it's Python quote bf.py, and just like that. And here we're and run. Okay, so as you saw, with the memory assignment of the B's, it actually showing up right here. Okay, so the next thing we got to do is we actually have to find our libc addresses and our system libc system address, or libc exit address, and our lib bin bash address, and that has to be done on the Jigsaw system. So to do that, it's LDD board bin board game 3 grep lib c, and that gives us the memory address of 0xb753f000. Okay, so I'm going to copy that down. And that's the LDD. So the next one we want to do is the system. So that one is reddelf-s/lib/i3 x86-linux-gnu /libc .so.6, and it's going to be piped over to grep, and we're looking for system, SYSTEM, and a hit A. Okay. And that brings up the address right here. Actually, it's the one below it that we're looking for. So that one, I'm going to copy. And we're going to paste that one. And that's our system. These are memory address assignments. So, okay, so the next one, and I've actually got the command already typed out, so I'm just going to go ahead and Control V. So it's readelf-s lib386 linux gnu /libc so6, and we're looking for exit. So we're looking for the exit address, and the exit address is right there. That's the one we want. Control C. Control C again. All right, and Control V, and that's going to be the memory exit address. And then, of course, the last one we want is going to be for the shell. So that's going to be, it's going to be strings -a -t x /lib /i386 linux-gnu /libc.so.6, and then it's grep bin shell, or just sh. So to do that one, and this is very simple, it's the 162D4C address. So we're going to copy that, and we're going to put that over here, and that's the shell. Okay, so the next thing to do is we want to actually make a Python on Jigsaw, a Python file on Jigsaw that we can actually launch the Buffer-Overflow from inside. It's going to be, let's see, and we're going to do that inside the temp file. So cd /tmp, because we actually have write permission to that file. So touch, and we're just going to give it something simple. bf shell.py. It's a best friend. Okay, now we're going to vim into bf shell.py, and we're going to go to insert, and to save time on this, I've already got this typed up as well. So because this is actually kind of a pretty good size Python file. It's not very big, but it's still pretty good size. So basically this is it's going to be from subprocesses import call import struct, and then it's going to basically give the libc, the system, the exit, and the shell the memory assignments we just looked up. And then on the buffer, it's going to print A 76 times, and then it's going to add it to the system and the exit, and then it's going to pop a shell, and then it's going to keep repeating this until the buffer fills up. So what we're going to do is we're going to write this and quit, and then now we're going to launch that file. And okay, so what I want to do is launch that file. So it's Python, bython, bf SEHLL.py. Okay, as you can see that it's going through and writing those A's. And here pretty soon, it should pop a shell icon. And then now we're going to do who am I? And guess what? We're root. All right, so now we can do ls or cd root. ls and game over. And so we're going to do cat game over.txt. All right, it says congratulations, flight 3. And guess what? Game over. So, thank you for watching my video.